Houston fan, so I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, always
Uh,
picking and choosing. It's like,
oh,
well, J.J. Watt will do something cool. We're gonna lose, but
J.J. Watt will do something cool.
yeah,
How is
exactly.
it okay? Now, how is it that Boston Randy? We didn't follow each other then. That was the problem. Um, we didn't follow each other then. How is it because you're in Waco or near Waco? How is it you're a Texans fan because it's closer to Dallas than it is Houston?
Well, my family's from the Houston area, and
Oh,
I
okay.
went
Well,
to
that
high
makes
school in
sense
the
then.
Houston area. Yeah, I mean, I remember I was in, gosh, I think I was in elementary school when the franchise was announced, elementary or middle school. So I was really big on the Texans bandwagon when they first came out, even when we were trash. So these colors don't run, you know.
Well, what's funny is that I want the Texans to be successful, just not against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, I I don't know how to feel about it. I mean, we took Fitzpatrick, and I knew it was a bad call from the beginning. I think we should have had Mallet in from the start. I think we should have gotten him and done that. But Fitzpatrick, it's like he plays badly, and then they put someone else in. He's like, oh man, I may not start, and then he plays really well the next game, and it's just
Yeah, it's
I
funny
don't.
how that works out, doesn't it?
It's well, it's hard to be a Houston fan, is what I'm trying to say, because it's like, oh man, we really, oh maybe not. So it's just like it doesn't even matter what side of the ball I'm on or the Texans are on. I'm just like defense, defense.
uh, but yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah, I feel like that with the cows sometimes. With the Cowboys sometimes, where I'm just like, well, their offense is going to be okay as long as Romo actually stays healthy, and then it's like with their defense, I don't know. Although I know Chad is a Broncos fan, so I know that he's happy with Chad, and the Chad is a Broncos fan, so I know he's happy about having DeMarcus Ware, which I wouldn't blame him for being happy.
Totally. I mean it's hard because like at work I'm the Houston Texans fan, and everybody I work with is a Cowboys fan. So when Cowboys games are happening that day, that's all I hear about. Just constantly. Like we even have a guy that wears a jersey to work on Cowboys game days.
Really?
Yeah. So
See, I don't, I have not done that. I have not done that the entire, where Cowboys stuff or Stars stuff. Well, I'll wear Stars hats. I haven't worn a jersey to work in a while, but I'm weird like that. So
yeah. I don't own any jerseys. Jerseys are expensive. That's on
yeah,
my
they
to-do
are.
list.
Yeah, they are.
Exactly. And what's even worse is like uh, the players I like, we tend to.
Get rid of.
Yeah, it's really frustrating.
Been there, done that. I was going to get a Brendan Dillon jersey, and well, that yeah, we'll not go any farther there.
Yeah, I feel your pain there. I mean, it is what it is, and I feel like the Cowboys, they're the so close team. Oh, we were so close.
No, they're just mediocre.
That's what I'm saying. I understand it's hard to be a Cowboys fan. It's not as hard as it is being a Texans fan, but I I get the frustration with a team that's almost there. Almost there, not there.
Boston and Randy in the chat room just asked me who was the first team to lose to the Texans. Not only did the Cowboys lose to the Texans, I believe they were shut out or close to it.
Oh gosh, I mean, well, the Cowboys are ahead in the series right now, so we did it first, but you guys have done it more often, so
No, I believe they were. Hang on, I'm looking this up right now. No, that's just a video. Yeah, the first game, obviously, the Texans beat the Cows. But the question was whether or not I can't remember. No, it was Excuse me, it was 19-10. Excuse me, 19-10. Yes, Randy, I remember that game, unfortunately. I watched it. I couldn't believe it. But I knew the Cowboys had a 0 in there somewhere.
Oh, goodness.
No, it's yeah. Yeah, it's tough being a fan of Texas football.
It is. It's very rough. I mean, and especially here because football is king. I mean, just as an example, I actually live down the street from McLean Stadium, and Baylor's playing tonight. They blocked off 2 of the 3 roads to my house, so they're to my apartment.
Baylor, who won again tonight.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Would you put in Baylor over TCU?
Oh, that is the question. I can't go to work without being lynched and say that TCU needs to be above Baylor. So, when you look at the lineup between the 2 teams, it is there you go, Boston Randy. You're an Aggie. That's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
That A&M is the school I wish I would have gone to.
Ditto.
But if I ever go get a master's or a doctoral, it'll be from A&M. If they'll have me. But I think that when you look at the lineup that the teams that TCU played, they played some of the same big-name teams as Baylor, but those teams were ranked lower when they played Baylor and higher when they played TCU. And when you look at the head-to-head, Baylor came out on top. So it's hard for me. It's very hard for me to justify putting TCU over Baylor when in the same matchups, Baylor did just as well, and in a head-to-head, Baylor won. So it doesn't make sense to me that Baylor would be rated lower because it's not like they're not consistent. I mean, they're kicking butt on a consistent basis.
Now I will say this: if KSU beats Baylor, no question. TCU. There's no argument there anymore.
Right, exactly. And all I'm saying is as the record stands now, and as it has stood for probably the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
I would put TCU higher than Baylor, but that's.
Yeah, no, and I get it. It's a close call. It's just Baylor beat TCU, and that's hard for me to get past. I think that people don't weight that victory as much as they should, especially if Baylor ends up being the Big 12 champs.
Co-champs.
Well, right, but if Baylor ends up getting the title and TCU, they're TCU.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough. I mean, the issue that you run into is you've got both schools have 1 loss, and so that's kind of the question that you got to look at. It's a tough call. It really is.
Yeah, I feel like the talking heads come out with a new metric every week to justify it.
Welcome to the BCS all over again.
Exactly.
That's why it ought to be an 18 playoff.
Yeah,
it really should be an 18 playoff.
There's a guy I work with that made this regional battle royale chart where they play all year and it's like a tournament style. It's like a tournament style elimination. So.
Yeah.
But
yeah, of course, it also should be pointed out, and I think this is Prairie Dog actually made a very good point in the chat. He asked, who was it that Baylor lost to? They lost to West Virginia. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think West Virginia is ranked at all.
Yep, and I don't know for a fact. I'd have to pull that up.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, good. Because I got to.
No, West Virginia is not ranked.
Yep.
I don't think they were ranked at the time when that happened.
Yeah, honestly, that loss surprised me. I think it surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
But
TCU losing to Baylor, I don't think anyone was surprised because both teams are really good, although TCU just had, a bad day at the office. But it's a good. I mean, it's a good question. You know what I would love to see? I would love to see TCU and Baylor play again. I really wish there were a Big 12 championship game. Let them play again. See
Well,
what
with
happens.
all of the talk about it, I mean, it wouldn't. If they were to put one together at the last minute to play another game, even if it's after the season, they play one more game. I think that game would be a huge draw, and it would settle it once and for all.
Yeah.
I know they can't, but
I know
saying
they can't.
if they did, it would be a smart move.
Yeah.
NCAA rules. You're talking to me about a governing body making arbitrary rules on whether or not they can play a game. Not the person to talk to about that. We want to play some football. You can't. We say so. Go home.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of that, because we are hitting the end of the show, but speaking of wanting to play some football and not being allowed to, SEC, if you are listening to me, Texas A&M in the Texas Bowl. You got to do it. You got to do Texas A&M in the Texas Bowl.
I don't understand why that's not every year.
Well, you can actually thank the Longhorns for that.
Yeah, the Longhorns. I mean,
A&M
they're trying to.
who saved the Big 12. A&M who saved the Big 12 because they would not go to the Pac-12. And Texas is just like, fine, you want to go to the SEC? We're not playing you anymore.
Well, I mean, if you look at the fan demographics, UT dominates the state, and so they looked at those numbers and they were like, all right, well, if we do our own thing, we're going to get more money.
Yeah.
And so I understand why they made the call, but I think they should still throw a bone and make an exception for the A&M game because it's a state rivalry. And honestly, having the Texas Bowl, if it was just the top two teams in Texas that played each other, I would be okay with that too. But it's just how are you going to go a football season without UT playing A&M? It just seems
Boston Randy is doing Sawhorns and all that stuff. Boston, I don't know if Liz Bertarian is paying attention to the chat anymore. She may have tuned out.
Oh, she's typing.
Oh, she's typing.
She's typing. I've been watching it. She's like type, delete, type.
Here we
delete.
go. Here we go. The fight's on.
It's on.
The fight's on.
Yeah. State war. Everybody, state war.
Here we go.
It's happening.
No, you want to know how sad?
Low blow. Should have stayed in the Big 12.
Oh, I love you, Liz.
You're not playing by the rules, so we're taking our football and going back to Austin.
I love you, Liz. I just wanted to say that. I knew she was going to say something.
Yep. No, they should know that it's important to the state, and they should do it because they're Texans, and that's how we do business. Just on principle alone, they should be doing it. And plus, I mean, the game's a huge draw monetarily for the state, so I don't understand. I mean, I didn't go to either school, and that's probably the only college game I'd watch. Mm. So,
I sure ain't going to be watching any UNT games. Jeez.
Right? I don't think I went to a game in college when I was at SFA. I don't think I ever went to a game. But
I didn't. The one game that I went, the one UNT game that I went to, it was when they played A&M, I think, and I rooted for A&M.
Oh goodness, what we're like carpetbagger alumni.
Oh well, you want to know how bad I am. Is that if a team, if I will root, especially in some of these Texas A&M games, I'd sit there and I'd be going, you know something, I'll root for the better team. I admit I will root for the better team in some games. And if it means that if it means I'm rooting for the Longhorns, I'm rooting for the Longhorns.
The way I look at it like this: state, nation, state again.
Yeah. And I will also say this, by the way, is I have no problem with Charlie Strong kicking all those players off the team. That was I like Charlie Strong. I think he'll be a good coach at UT.
Yes, he's doing a great job. I like him. The no tolerance policy should have been instituted long ago.
Yeah.
It's overdue.
And before Liz says any